Okay, so here's the revised tutorial to What Are the Chances? Now the reason I'm doing a revision of this tutorial is because I missed a few details in the last one and it just wasn't very clear. Plus Miss Meg 822 came up with a brilliant idea to strengthen one of the potential endings to this trick. So yes, there's actually 3 possible endings to this effect, and I'll show you what those are in a little bit. But first off, I'll get into how to set up the deck. And what you want to do is you want to first remove any 2 aces. So get rid of the 2 aces, and then you want to place the 8 of hearts, specifically the 8 of hearts. And then any 7, so that it adds up to 15, 8 and 7. And then you want the next card to add up to 14 with the last 7 played. So we have 7 and 7 to 14. So any 7s, it doesn't matter about the suits for the 7s. And then next we want to alternate back to adding to 15 with another 8. Now this 8 specifically has to be an 8 of diamonds. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be alternating adding 15 and 14, 15 and 14 all through the deck with the values, and only the 8s and 6s we're going to be specific with as far as the suits go. The other card suits, it doesn't matter. It's just the values need to add to 14 and 15 alternating. So let's continue. So we have 8, 15, with 7 is 15. So next we want 14, so a 6 for 14. Now this 6 specifically has to be a spade. The next card is a 9 for 15. It doesn't matter about the suit with the 9. The next card is a 4, adds to 14 with the 5. And then 15 again with a 10. And then 14 with a 4. And then 15, jack being 11 plus the 4 makes 15. And then 14 with the 3 and the jack. And then 15 with the queen and 3. And then 14 with the queen and 2. 15 with the king and 2. And then the king and ace equal 14. And now we're going to have 14 again, only in this instance with the kings and aces. So we'll have king and ace equal 14 again, 2 14s in a row. And then back to 15 with the 2. And then 14 with the queen. 15 with the 3, 14 with the jack, 15 with the 4, 14 with the 10, 15 with the 5, 14 with the 9, 15 with the 6. Now this 6 specifically has to be a diamond. It's important that this is the 6 of diamonds. And next we have an 8 for 14, and this 8 specifically has to be an 8 of spades. Then we continue with a 15 with the 7, 14 with another 7, 15 with the 8, again this 8 specifically is the 8 of clubs, and then this 6 is specifically the 6 of hearts, and then 9 for 15, 5 for 14, 10 for 15, 4 for 14, jack for 15, 3 for 14, queen for 15, 2 for 14, king for 15, ace for 14, and then another 14 with the king, and then back to 15 with a 2, queen for 14, 3 for 15, a jack to make 14, 4 to make 15, 10 to make 14, 5 to make 15, a 9 to make 14, and then lastly you should arrive with the 6 of clubs as your last card. So that is the setup. I'll also leave the order of the deck in the description box to make things easier. Now, what we do next is we want to mark the 6 of clubs, the bottom card. So to mark it, just put a tiny little dot on the top left-hand corner of the card and a tiny little dot on the opposite bottom corner, so that if the card is ever turned around, you'll know to always look at the top left-hand corner and your mark will always be there. Now, what you can do is just cut the deck so that your special marked 6 of clubs is hidden in the deck so the spectator can't see it. So to start the trick, you're just going to show the cards off, just kind of casually run through the cards and just show the spectator that the cards are, they look quite mixed. And you can get the spectator to cut the deck a few times if you want. And after they've cut the deck, you move on to showing the backs of the cards. And what you do when you're showing the backs of the cards is you look for your secret little mark on the 6 of clubs. And then you just casually cut the cards so that your 6 of clubs and all the cards above it rest underneath the rest of the cards. So you should have your 6 of clubs at the bottom and the 8 of hearts at the top of the deck ready for the rest of the trick. Now comes the first force of the trick. There's actually 3 forces involved in this trick. The first force is I found from a trick called Let's Do Lunch by Miss Meg 822 on his site, thecardtrickteacher.com. And what it is it uses an indicator card, which you introduce to the spectator with this vertical line on it as its little mark. Now, this mark was an idea by Miss Meg 822. That's why I didn't have this mark in the original performance. So this is a new idea to improve the effect. So I'll get into the meaning behind that mark a little later. But for now, we'll just use this indicator card. We have the spectator hold it face down like this, and the spectator inserts the card anywhere they want, and you're going to basically, what you're going to do is you're going to force, just like in Let's Do Lunch, the top and bottom cards of the deck. To the spectator, they're going to think that they have selected the two cards beside the indicator card. So what happens is you state that you're going to show the spectator what is written on the other side of this card. And when you do that, you just fan the cards over a bit after they stick the indicator card in, and you just carefully flip the card like this, and as you flip the card, you move the bottom portion of the deck on top of the inserted card, just like that. So now, as you can see, what has happened is the original bottom card is now right next to our indicator card, and the original top card is just underneath next to it. So I'll just do that one more time. Let's see. How do we have that set up? Okay, so that was the bottom card. Okay, so we'll do that one more time, and I'll just do it a little slowly. So they stick the card in. You just flip the card, and the bottom portion of the deck just goes over top of it, and there you have it all set for the force. Then what you do is you remove the three cards, your two force cards and the indicator card, and you set it down on the table, and you immediately take the upper portion that was divided by the three cards here, right next to the three cards. Take the upper portion, and you immediately stick it underneath the rest of the deck. It's very important you do that move. Put it underneath the rest of the deck, otherwise the trick won't work. So, you set the deck down. You mention to the spectator that the word suit is going to indicate our random suit, the card that represents our random suit, and the word value is going to indicate the card that represents our random value for our card. But before we reveal the cards, we're going to flip the card over for now. We'll leave our indicator card face down at the moment. And then we move on to the next force of the trick, and that is our number between 1 and 52. So to do that, I would ask the spectator to cut the deck anywhere they want. They look at the bottom card, and the 2 in this case, so we write 2 down. And then we look at the next card, it's a queen, which represents 12, we write 12. We replace those cards, get the spectator to cut somewhere else in the deck. They cut at an 8, so we write 8 down. And for our fourth and final random card, the next card is a 6, and we write that down. So, based on that setup, what has actually happened is you force the spectator, if you haven't figured this out already based on the setup, is that no matter where they cut, they're either going to cut at two values that will add up to 14 or 15. So you're going to actually have three possible totals of the four numbers. And those three possible totals are 28, 29, or 30. 28 being if they cut two 14 values, two 14 totals, or they cut at a 15 and then they cut at a 14 total, that would give you the 29. Or if they, of course, cut at a 15 and another 15, that will give you the third total of 30. So those are the three potential totals. So what to do with those three scenarios? What you do is, if your total is 28, you're going to want to now go on to the third force here. And the third force is using this indicator card, which I found from a trick called the Savvy Card Trick by Miss Meg 822. I found on his site, thecardtrickteacher.com. And this force allows you to control what value you want to force and what suit you want to force. So it's either going to be, you're forcing either the 8 of clubs or the 6 of hearts, depending on the total you get. So for 28, you're going to actually want to force the 8 of clubs, because the 28th card right now in the deck is the 8 of clubs. If the total is 29, you're going to want to force the 6 of hearts, because the 6 of hearts is the 29th card in the deck. Now for 30, I'll get into that in a moment. Now, let's start off with, let's say we want to force the 28th card, the 8 of clubs. So what you do is you just look for, you can actually have the spectator mix the cards first, and all you have to do is look for your secret little mark on the 6 of clubs at the top corner. So you know which is the 6. So we want to force the 8 as the value. Now I know which side of the card points as the value and which side points as the suit by my marking here. It's actually a little off center, as you'll notice. Just a little off, just beside the bicycle guys here. And the side that it's closer to the edge, the shorter distance between the edge and the mark, I remember as the suit side, because short starts with an S and so does suit. So suit is pointing here, value is pointing there. I want to force the 8 as the value. So what I would do is first I would flip the indicator card horizontally like this so that the word value is pointing at the 8. And then I can reveal the 2 cards second, just like that, and I can show that our random card is the 8 and our suit is the club. So 8 of clubs is our random card. And then we count down 28 on the deck, and they will see that the 28th card is the 8 of clubs. And you might want to remind the spectator too that you haven't touched the deck ever since they came up with the random number and the random card. You've left the deck alone, you haven't touched it, you immediately were able to count right to that number. That's what makes this trick so impressive. So for number 29, the same thing's going to happen with this force, except you're going to now force the 6 of clubs, or the 6 of hearts. So to force the 6 of hearts, let's just say the value was originally pointing at the 6. The value side of the indicator card is originally pointing at the 6. And you want to force because it's 29, the total is 29, you want to force the 6 of hearts. So to do that force, instead of flipping the card horizontally, this time you're going to flip it up vertically to keep the word value pointing at our 6. So there's our 6, and then you turn the other card to show our suit. So then the spectator, of course, counts down 29 cards, and they will arrive, the 29th card, at the 6 of hearts. That's how the deck is set. Now, lastly, what do you do in the situation for 30? Well, for that, it's very easy, and this is a great idea by Miss Meg 822. All you do is you take the indicator card, you set it on top of the deck, just like that. You get the spectator to mix these cards further if you want, and to set them beside the deck, just like so. Now, the card you want to force for 30 is, again, the 6 of hearts. And, again, it's easily forced because you know which side of the card is which on the indicator card, and you know which value. I know that, based on my marking, that that's the 6, and I know the value is on this side of the indicator card, so I simply flip the card up vertically. The value is pointing at the 6. I flip that up to show the value, and our suit, the hearts. So, we want to count to 30. I simply flip over the indicator card down like this, and I say this marking on the back of the card you can see is the number 1. This indicates that this is the first card in our count. So then you start the count with the number 1 card, and you go 1, 2, 3, all the way to 30, and there you go. Their jaw should be dropping when they arrive at 30, and that's that. So that's the trick, and I also have to thank the Moody 4444 for giving me the tip to setting up the deck with this 1415 method to arrive at this this number force. So I almost forgot that. So yeah, I have to thank him for that too. So anyways, that's the tutorial, and I hope that was clear enough, and thank you for watching.